expecting more, but I forgot your other half is up here. So we're here today to celebrate them. Excellent job coming in the in the auditorium. I'm really excited for this winter treat. I know they've been working really hard, and you guys look like you're ready to enjoy some good music. So I'm going to hand this over to Mrs. Castillo and Mrs. Jaques, and enjoy.
Thank you, Mrs. Robinson. Yes, this group has been working really hard since the beginning of the year, and we're really excited to show you all the things we've been working on. For those of you who played a string instrument in the past, I think you're going to find some familiar things. We're actually going to begin with a piece called Allegro that if you were playing with us in the 4th grade, you might remember from last year. However, it has been slightly revamped. We, at the beginning of this year, started working on some new bowing techniques and specifically how we hold the bow. So if you were with us in the 3rd grade, you might remember putting your thumb on the bottom of the bow. Which is a great way to begin using the bow, and now we're moving the thumb from that bottom spot to the stick of the bow, which we call our professional bow hold. So that we are preparing to be able to have the flexibility to do even more advanced bow strokes. We are going to demonstrate our professional bow hold while we do Allegro, which already has some fancy bowing strokes in it. You might remember there are some bow circles, so we have to actually lift our bows in the air and replace them right in the middle of the song, which takes a lot of control, especially with this new professional bow hold. You might or might not remember that Allegro also has something in the middle of it called a fermata, which is a held note, and it's held for the length that the conductor or leader would like to hold it. So the whole group has to be watching for that, but the audience might also want to be prepared that there's this big stop in the middle of the piece that's not actually the end of the piece. Also, just to make it a little trickier for the audience, we're playing the piece twice. You'll hear the melody the first time, and the melody and harmony the second time. So hold your applause until you've heard the song twice. And the way you'll know the piece is really over is when we put our instruments back down to rest position. You might also notice a new instrument this year. We have 3 student bass players, and I'll invite them to stand up with their instruments now. And Mrs. Jaques has been working with them for the last 2 months. So they're very new to their big, wonderful instruments, and you'll hear them actually playing the harmony part by themselves the first time through. Everyone else is on melody, basses are on their own on the harmony part, and the second time through the cellos will join them and some others as well. So enjoy Allegro. You'll kind of notice this is a bit of a demonstration and concert. So Allegro, we were demonstrating our new bow holds with the thumb on the stick. But also, you might have noticed a bit of a more sprightly, quicker tempo than we did in the 4th grade. The next thing we're going to show you is actually one of our warm-ups, but I asked if the 5th grade orchestra would play this in the concert to show off their learning, because I've been particularly impressed by how well they're doing this year. In this warm-up, the violins and violas have been working to add 4th finger. If you played with us before, you probably remember using fingers number 1, 2, and 3. And we've been adding the 4th finger to our repertoire over here in the violins and violas. But for the cellos and basses, their instruments are so big, they were already using 4 fingers. So to get the extra notes on the cello and on the bass, they have to actually shift their entire left hand to a new position. So the violins and violas will be demonstrating their 4th finger and independent fingers, like putting down 1 finger at a time. The cellos and basses, you'll actually see them shifting their hand to a new spot on the fingerboard in the middle of the pattern and then shifting it back in each pattern. We're going to demonstrate it on every string, starting with the highest, E string over here with the violins, and the lowest, bass is playing the E string as well. And we have 5 strings to do. So up and down, the E string, A string, D string, G string, and C string, with 4th fingers and shifting. Thank you. That is actually probably the riskiest thing that I chose to put on the program today, because that you hear the notes really clearly, and you hear the 4th finger is actually quite difficult to play, and they're doing a great job with it. So thank you for demonstrating that. We are going to use the 4th finger over here in the violins during our next piece. It's called Beethoven's Ninth, and it is taking the melody of Ode to Joy from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and turning it into a beautiful string arrangement. So for those of you who played the melody last year, you'll get to hear a more full string arrangement version, and especially enjoy the cellos and basses. Thank you. I hope you noticed the bow circles at the end of that one too. Our next song is Can Can, and everyone has learned to play the entire song, not just the melody. And I'd like you to just notice in this piece we've been working on lots of different kinds of bow strokes. So you'll see in the violins and violas in the introduction section, using very short, light bows in the upper half of the bow, which is a little harder to control. As you get away from your hand down here and get to the upper half, it's much harder to control what's happening with your bow. So we're doing short, light bows at the beginning in the upper half. And then in the middle section, which was called the bridge, you'll notice going back and forth between big bows and short little bows. And in the tune, you'll just hear big bows and heavy short notes. So we hope you enjoy this version for strings of Can Can. And now we have a little special treat for a few of our advanced students are going to play a piece that they've been working on in addition to the ones that the entire orchestra's been playing. And this is a piece originally written by Beethoven for piano, but is a string arrangement for 2 violin parts and cello. And we hope you like it. It's called Sonatina, and this will be led by Mrs. Jaques, who's been working with this group. Okay, that's absolutely lovely. I didn't actually plan it this way, but in the piece that the advanced crew just played, they were using a note that the rest of the group just learned called C natural. And our next thing is actually not a piece, it's a little demonstration again. And we wanted to show you the difference between just changing one note in a piece. So we're gonna play something very simple for you, hot cross buns, with its normal notes if you played it on the A string. And if you played it on the A string, the notes would be C sharp, B, and A. And we'll play it for you the normal way. And then we're gonna just change the first note. We're gonna change its last name, essentially from C sharp to C natural. What that means is we're moving that note a half step from its normal location. This is an interesting thing for cellos and basses. Their hands are so spread out on their instrument that they're actually going to use a different finger when we switch from C sharp to C natural. Violins and violas, it's a different story. We're just going to move our second finger from its normal spot on C sharp to a new spot called C natural. And we want you to see if you can hear the difference between the regular C sharp version and the C natural version. Here comes the normal C sharp hot cross buns. This next version with the C natural should sound really different. I hope everybody can hear the difference. Okay, we are actually going to play the C sharp version for you one more time because we don't want to leave you with the sad version in your head. So here comes the regular hot cross buns one more time with the C sharp. I appreciate that you're just as enthusiastic about our new techniques as you are about our songs. And our final song actually is a fiddle tune and arranged by Lenny Niehaus and Verdon Leidig, but it's called The Square Dance, which is kind of a typical dancing kind of a song. You'll hear it sounds very fiddly, but there's actually a place where the audience gets to participate in this song. And you've been such a good audience. I'm really happy to let you participate, and you'll know when, because the cellos are going to be clapping on beats 2 and 4 later in the song. So you'll get to hear the tune a bit, and then when you see the cellos clapping, and basses, right, cellos and basses, you are encouraged to clap along with them if you can figure out beats 2 and 4 with them. thank you for being such an attentive and wonderful audience. I hope you enjoyed participating in the clapping. I really heard a lot of steady beat out there, so good job all the music teachers on that. Okay, orchestra's gonna stay put while the audience is being dismissed, and then we'll take our time packing up.